Welcome to Theory of Pets. I'm a passionate pet owner with a drive to help others like me uncover the truth about the pet industry and what goes on behind the scenes. I get a lot of questions from pet owners wondering if they can feed their canine and feline companions a plant-based diet. This is something that I am not familiar with because I don't choose to feed our pets a plant-based diet. So I wanted to reach out to an expert who I knew could help us, and that is Dr. Jennifer Adolphe. She has been on the podcast numerous times and knows about all things pet nutrition. So today I wanted to have her on the show to talk about vegetarian diets for pets. Are there benefits to these diets? Are they safe for our pets? And of course, if you do choose to feed either vegetarian or omnivorous diets, how can you be sure that you're choosing the best nutritional option for your pet? If this is your first time listening to one of my podcasts with Dr. Adolphe, she is the Senior Nutritionist for Petcurean. Petcurean is a premium pet food brand, and she has a PhD in companion animal nutrition. She's also a registered dietitian. Jennifer actually began her career in human nutrition, but in 2009, she decided to combine her interest in the nutritional field with her love of animals, and so she pursued her PhD in pet nutrition. She has been working with Petcurean, doing research on many different areas in pet nutrition. Most recently, she has studied the effects of carbohydrates on metabolic and cardiovascular health in both lean and obese dogs. A lot of her research is going to help to further our understanding of pet nutrition, and I thought she would be the perfect expert to talk to us today about plant-based diet for our cats and dogs. Dr. Adolphe, thank you so much for being on my podcast again. Welcome back to Theory of Pets. And since you know the ropes, let's jump right into the interview. Some pet owners have started feeding their pets popular diets for humans, such as the vegan and vegetarian diets. What's the difference between a vegan diet for pets and a vegetarian diet for pets?
So a vegetarian diet tends to be a little bit less restrictive and often includes ingredients such as dairy or eggs, while a vegan diet excludes all animal products. So for pets, there might be dried eggs in a vegetarian diet, whereas a vegan diet doesn't include any animal-sourced ingredients. In the human world, we'll refer to these as lacto-ovo vegetarians, or so those are people that are vegetarian but do include dairy or eggs in their diet. There's also pesco-vegetarians, which do include fish. So there's a variety of different type of vegetarians, whereas vegan is really a lot more strict, and it encompasses more than just the diet, but it's also considered a lifestyle. And people choose to feed a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet for many different reasons, including ethical, environmental, and health benefits. And we are seeing more and more that vegan pet parents wish to feed their pets similarly to the way that they feed themselves. And it was really interesting. I was actually a co-author on a paper that was recently published, and the lead author is Dr. Sarah Dodd, who is a veterinarian and a PhD candidate right now at the University of Guelph. And she looked at the number of meat-avoiding pet owners, and she wanted to identify concerns that they have about conventional animal and plant-based pet food, and also estimate the number of pets that are actually being fed a plant-based diet. And she found that pet owners are more likely to be vegetarian or vegan themselves, so people compared to the general population. So people who are vegan or vegetarian tend to be pet lovers, and so they want to avoid eating animal products. And vegans are also the most likely to feed their pets a plant-based diet. There was only one vegetarian who fed a plant-based diet, and all of the rest of the pets that were fed a plant-based diet were part of a vegan family.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And she also found that 35% of pet owners who did not already feed a plant-based diet to their pets had some interest in doing so. So it is a popular topic. But there is a concern amongst those people that they want to know that the food is nutritious, and they want to kind of have that, some stipulations kind of looked after before they would consider switching their pet to a plant-based diet.
So let's talk about that. Plant-based, whether it's vegan or vegetarian, are these diets safe to feed our pets?
So for dogs, we are able to meet their nutrient requirements from a plant-based diet only. However, cats have some unique nutrient requirements that are found only in animal tissue, so it is much, much harder to meet the nutrient requirements of a cat with a plant-based diet. And so it's always important to remember that animals need nutrients, they don't need ingredients. And so for dogs, we can meet those nutrient requirements using plant-based ingredients. However, there are several nutrients that are of concern and do need special attention when formulating a vegan diet for dogs. So these are proteins, taurine, fatty acids, and some vitamins, namely vitamin A, D, and B12. And those are of concern because they're just easier to obtain from animal-sourced ingredients. And so it's really important that if you are feeding a vegan diet to your pet, to make sure that it is properly formulated, to make sure that all of those nutrients are present in the food.
And if you are going to switch your dog to a vegan or a vegetarian diet, are there certain benefits to that over a traditional omnivorous diet?
There isn't a lot of information to show that there is a health benefit per se to a vegan or vegetarian diet compared to an omnivorous diet. And actually, we are currently working on a research project to investigate that. So stay tuned. The results won't be out for quite a while, but it's definitely something we're interested in. From an environmental perspective, there may be benefits to eating lower down on the food chain by choosing more plant-based foods instead of animal foods. But it's always important to remember that all foods can fit, that different food sources give different nutrients, different types of nutrients and different concentrations of nutrients. And so for people who follow a vegan diet themselves, it may appeal to them to feed their pets similarly because of their concerns about animal welfare, the environment, and other benefits. For pets that are experiencing adverse food reactions, it might be one option to try a vegan or vegetarian diet because it may be the animal source protein in the foods that is contributing to the adverse food reaction. So it's nice to have just one more diet option in our toolbox for pets with health concerns. And then dogs with liver disease or hepatic encephalopathy may do better on a lower protein, plant-based protein diet. And so again, these diets are a tool in the toolbox for these pets.
And on the flip side of that, are there any dogs that wouldn't be able to eat a vegan or a vegetarian diet for any reason?
There shouldn't be any contraindications, but again, you want to make sure that the diet is nutritionally balanced and complete. In order to meet all of their nutrient requirements. For pets that maybe have a higher protein requirement, for very active animals, a plant-based diet does tend to be a bit lower in calories and protein, and so those animals may not be best on a vegan diet, but it really depends on the individual animal and its lifestyle.
So speaking of that, whether you're choosing a vegetarian diet or an omnivorous diet, how can a pet owner ensure that they choose the best nutritional option for their animal?
That's a great question. There's so many diets out there, and it can be very hard to choose. So I always say that there are a few key questions that you should ask about the food or the company behind the food before making a selection. So find out who actually formulates the foods and does the company employs a full-time qualified nutritionist. And by that I mean someone with a PhD in animal nutrition or a board-certified veterinary nutritionist. Also find out what kind of experience the company or the food manufacturer has in making pet food. Do they have a long track record of making food? And what type of quality control measures do they use to ensure consistency in both the ingredients and end product to make sure that the food is complete and balanced and safe? And also, can they provide a complete nutrient profile for their foods to make sure that, again, the food has all of the nutrients the pet requires? And lastly, what kind of customer care team do they have? Can they be readily called, and can someone be spoken with to answer any questions that a pet parent may have about their pet or the food?
And what tips would you have for pet owners who are maybe considering a vegetarian or a vegan diet for their dog?
I would say to do your homework, choose a diet that has been formulated by a qualified nutritionist to make sure that your pet is receiving all of the nutrients that they need to be healthy. And also something that people might want to consider is diet rotation. So you don't necessarily have to go all in with a vegan diet. You could feed a vegan diet once in a while and rotate it. Variety is the spice of life, but if you feel that you want to start incorporating some more plant-based nutrition in both your own diet and your pet's, diet rotation is a great option.
Oh, that's a great tip. And speaking of that, we'll kind of switch gears for a minute. If you are interested in feeding a carnivorous diet and you're looking for a good option for your dog, Petcurean has recently unveiled their new Go Carnivore line. Can you tell us about that line?
Yeah, so the new Go Carnivore line is the upgraded version of our Go Fit and Free product lineup. And so the Go Carnivore line has replaced that, and it is of course completely the opposite of the vegan diet. It's a very high protein, high meat diet, but it really contributes to our goal of having a recipe for each and every pet. As we discussed, maybe not every pet will do well on a solely plant-based diet. Some consumers are looking for high-protein diets for their pets, and so at Petcurean, we want to provide a wide variety of options. However, most of our diets are more moderate protein, and a moderate protein diet is likely to be a very suitable option for the majority of pets. But the Go Carnivore lineup has 70 to 87% of its protein from meat, poultry, or fish, and each recipe has between 6 and 11 different animal proteins to maximize the meat protein in the diet and provide excellent palatability. So we have the chicken, turkey, duck, puppy, adult, and senior dog recipes, as well as a cat recipe. And then we've introduced a lamb and wild boar recipe, each for dogs and cats, and a salmon and cod recipe, each again for dogs and cats. So we kind of have the poultry, the red meat, and the fish covered with that lineup.
Absolutely. And this is, we started talking vegan and now we're talking, this diet that's so high in protein. But what are some dogs that would benefit from a diet like this that are really high in protein?
So really active dogs that have a lot of muscle turnover might need a higher protein diet to support that. Some dogs actually, if they're undergoing a weight loss plan, and so their calorie intake is being cut, being reduced may have some benefits from eating a higher protein diet to maintain their lean body mass while they're in calorie deficit to lose fat but keep that muscle mass. So, but that's something to speak with your veterinarian about if your pet does need to undergo some weight loss. But they're not a really high protein diet is not typically needed for your average pet that prefers to spend its days laying on the couch rather than running long distances. But again, it's about having a diet that's available and suitable for each and every pet.
Absolutely. And just to end things there, that's a great way to segue into your website, which is full of some really great information on lots of different diets. And of course, if anybody wants information on some of the other diets that you offer, they can go to petcurean.com. There's a link below this podcast as well, so they can easily check that out. But you guys also offer information on choosing food, different ingredients, reading pet food labels, all kinds of really great stuff for pet parents, no matter what diet they're looking for.
Yeah, we really try to offer a wealth of nutrition education so that people can feel that they're making the best choice for their cat or dog.
Again, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Adolphe. I have really appreciated all this great information, and I know our listeners have as well. There is a link below this podcast to check out the Petcurean website. It's a wonderful resource for anybody looking for information on the proper diet for their pets. There's also a link below the podcast to our website, theoryofpets.com. And if you have any questions for me or for Dr. Adolphe, you can certainly submit those on our website, and I will get any questions that you have for her to her so she can answer them and get you a response. And while you're on our site, if you wouldn't mind taking just a minute to leave a quick review of the podcast, if you enjoy it, that helps me when I reach out to experts like Dr. Adolphe and just let them know that you guys are out there listening and you're interested in these topics. So I would really appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys listening today. I'll be back with another hot topic very soon.